Hey everyone, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this is Medieval Realms. Medieval Realms is a game for 2 to 5 players, lasts a little over an hour. It is a game in which each person takes on the role of a king, and over the course of 8 rounds they are going to collect many different types of resources, either by just having their mayors go out into their lands and collect them from the people, or having your admirals or your generals go out and actually claim them through superiority in military strength. Now when I say that, don't get the idea that you're actually going to be warring against other players. You kind of do. This will explain further once I show you how the game is played. But you're not actually like killing each other off or anything like that. It's more of a area majority type of situation for certain cards. Basically, what's going to happen is that you're going to collect different resources in the first part of the game through secret worker placement. I'll explain how that the secret worker placement works once we dive into the gameplay. And then you're going to use those resources to claim different types of event cards off of a tableau. The event cards will then give you either points or give you like the beginnings of a production engine that you'll use. They'll give you more workers that you'll have at your disposal as the game progresses. Lots of things as far as those are concerned that you just basically as the game progresses you'll watch your kingdom grow and like kind of start heading off in different directions and be different from other people's. Because of the number of resources in the game, there's lots of different ways that you can score points, and on the end of game scoring that you set yourself up to get is a big part of the game as well. So let me show you how to play the Medieval Realms, and we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, here we go. This is Medieval Realms. I'm going to teach you how to play the game. I'm not going to go through a whole turn-by-turn analysis or anything like that, but I'm going to give you the raw materials, so to speak, on how to grok how a turn is played. Now, before I dive in, just quickly, this is a prototype I was sent, so I do believe that like the card stock and like these are just like pieces of paper for a game board, things like that. So the end published version is going to be upgraded from this, but I do believe the art, which is excellent art by the way, will be largely like the same once the game comes out. All right, so just to briefly go over what you're looking at before I start diving into a turn and what happens on a turn. The game board is separated into a couple different areas. Obviously, this is the big giant points area. You'll be totaling up your points in that spot. There's a big giant deck of these event cards, and I've already laid out the event cards into the tableau as such. I'm going to talk about your individual playing board here in just a moment, but I want to mention that you notice there are 8 rounds in this game. The rounds are interesting because there is no set number of actions during any particular round. You're relying on players to pass, and all the players to pass before you move on to the next round. But I'll get to that when I talk more about the turn structure in just a little bit. This is the active current events here, and this is the events that are going to be happening. As players claim these cards, they will create gaps, and once everybody has passed, you will actually start sliding all the cards over. Now, you don't slide them straight like this, so this card here would slide down to this spot, this card would slide down to this spot, and everything kind of like, like takes place, and you move everything over farther and farther to the left. In fact, if like the cards that are in these locations aren't taken, depending upon the number of players, and you can kind of see that here with 5, 4, 3, and 2, depending upon the number of players, you will discard cards if they happen to be in those locations before you actually start sliding all the cards together. So no matter what, you're going to be getting rid of cards. Now, you're never going to have a turn where nobody takes an event card, but the cards, basically the cards that nobody wants, the ones that kind of keep on getting shoved to the end, will be discarded and replaced as well. Now, these 6 cards, as I said, will replace the cards that have been taken, and they will just, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they will go ahead and be popped into place in the open spaces behind them. All right, pretty straightforward, I know, but I just want to basically explain that to you. There is a turn order structure. These discs determine like yellows first and so on and so forth. That is randomly determined at the beginning of the game, but that will change several times as the game is played, and we'll talk about how that happens as well. All right, now moving down to, and obviously there's lots of iconography, there's lots of things going on with these cards. I'm not going to go through every single card, but I am going to describe to you what each of those does and how you get them. And I should also mention really quickly that As the cards move further over to the left, they actually get cheaper to purchase. You can actually see that there's this icon here, there's 2 icons here and 3 icons there. That is a goods icon. You can see it's one of the many resources that you have in this game. This game actually has 7 resources, 8 if you count the workers, if you count workers as a resource. You will be like spending those to get it. So cards in this column cost 1, cards in this column cost 2, and so forth. And so if there's a card you really like but you can't afford it, hopefully eventually it'll get shoved over to the left and become cheaper, and nobody else will take that before you. Obviously, if there's a card that you really, really want, making sure that you have one of the top numbers of the turn structure is going to help with that a great deal. All right, now coming back down to the players. Each person's going to have this player board in front of them. They're also going to get one of these defensive wall player screens. I'm not going to put this on here because of the fact that it's going to cover stuff up if I do that. And it isn't always on there as well. But when it is placed, it's going to be placed in this location here, making sure that everybody can always see what kind of resources that you have available to you in that particular turn. That will help people to try to maybe discern or try to decipher what exactly your plans will be that particular, phase of the game, and trying to see if they're going to be up against you to claim certain cards or certain resources and what have you. You are going to get 4 of these workers right here. These are the mayors, and then you're going to get one of these and one of these. These are admirals and these are generals. Now that's just the ones you get at the beginning of the game, and also I should mention that if you play a 2-player game, you're going to start with 2 extra mayors. And I invite you to go ahead and read the rules to the game, and you can read about that slight difference. But just regardless, as the game progresses, you will be gaining more of these workers. That's why there's a bunch of these meeples up here. And so as you gain more workers, obviously in a worker placement game, more workers means that you're able to do more. But you have to balance getting more workers with actually trying to win the game. It isn't going to help you much if you have a bunch of workers, but you never bother to get any points along the way as well. Alright, so what happens in a turn is you're going to be putting this defensive wall or screen down, and then you're going to be placing your mayors in these locations. And I should mention, in a 2-player game, you are allowed to use 2 mayors on this to assist in the war effort. But again, go ahead and check out those rules if you want to read more about that. And then this section, as I said, is the war effort side, and you are going to be placing your general and your admiral in those. Now, first things first, this side, as you can see, there are 6 different types of resources located here on this spot. You have these are your raw resources, which are these green. This is gold, which you have over here. This is culture, which you see here. These are goods tokens, which are here. This is potions, or technology kind of, that are right there. And this is the church, which is located here. You'll notice that there are none of these war icons that are over in this spot because, war icons are claimed on this side. You can see that there are those icons in those spots. But those also on this spot have the extra icons tacked on with them. And we'll talk about that also here in just a little bit. But for the most part, unless you're playing a 2-player game, mayors are going to be placed in this spot. And so you're going to cover up your player board so nobody can see, and then you're just going to place your mayors down into different locations that you want. You can place them all in one spot, you can place them all on a separate one, it doesn't matter, you can go ahead and choose. In this case, when I did it like this, on my turn, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be claiming a gold, I'm going to be claiming this potion, I'm going to be claiming 2 of these goods tokens. It doesn't have to be like that, I just kind of randomly drop them down. But obviously what you're doing is you're looking at the board, you're looking at the resources you have, and you're trying to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to claim a certain card that you might want. And so that's pretty straightforward as far as that goes. Now, the actual generals and admirals are interesting because, yes, you're going to be placing them on these spots where you'll get you can get 2 army tokens here, you can get an army token and a gold here. Over here, and notice these are for 5 players only, you can get an army token and then any one of the other tokens you want. Or over here you can get an army token and you get to take a card from the current event section. So those are only available in a 5-player game. With these, your red ones, your generals, are worth a combat value of 2, and your admirals are worth a combat value of 1. When you place these on the board, so let's say we put our general there and our admiral there, when you reveal, you're going to look at what everybody else has. And as long as you have more points than anybody else, tying gets you nothing. If you tie somebody in a spot or you lose to somebody, you get nothing. But obviously, if you tie somebody, they get nothing as well. But as long as you have one or more than any of the other people that are in contest for that particular spot, you then get to claim the rewards for that location. This is one of those cool points where you're like, what do I think that other person's going to go to and whatever. And you can, if you want, you can double up and like, so I'd have 3 combat value in that particular location to take that spot. Obviously, once again, I said as the game progresses, you're going to get more of these through different event cards, and the more combat value, the more power you have, the better it's going to be for you, obviously, so you can claim those different cards. All right, so you put the screen down, you reveal, you take your resources, and then you're good to go. So here's the next step we're going to do. After we've gone ahead and claimed those, and we claim all our resources, so in this case, let's see, I said I was going to take a gold, and I'm going to take this potion. So I place those in these locations. And remember, you're always going to have your resources available for other people to look at. You can't hide those. And I'm just going to actually put them, let's say I put them both there and I won that. So I got 2 of these war axes, and I get to place them into my war axe location. Perfect. Now, awesome, we're ready to go. Now, after all of this said and done as far as claiming those particular resources, oh, and I forgot to take my 2 extra goods tokens that I was going to take as far as that. Now, the interesting thing is that after you've done that, now everybody, all players, get 2 extra goods tokens. I think this reason for that is because if for some reason, like, you got completely shut out, you didn't get anything, you at least get, like, a goods token. So, you, like, with the 2 goods tokens, you're still going to be able to take something that's a level 1 or a level 2 card. You aren't going to get jammed with getting no cards on your turn. So, and that's why that rule is in place. So then, what you're going to do is you are going to basically, you activate a card on the current events channel. You know, remember, you can't take these 6. You can only take the ones that are in the top 12 up there. And then you are going to activate those and do the action that is surrounded those. Now is when I'm going to start talking about some of the cards that are available. Now remember, the first thing you're going to do is if you claim one of these cards, you have to pay to get it. So in this case, like if I wanted to claim this card right here, I would have to pay I'd have to pay 2 goods tokens to be able to claim that card. And let me just show you this card. And the reason why I took this one is because I purposely did this a little bit just to show you this. So this card, as you can see, oh, and I should mention that there are like 3 different types of cards. There are like basically these monarchy or royal cards, which you see here. They have this little crown up in the top. When you take those cards, they're kind of like a card that you claim, and then you're going to do an action, or you're going to process that card on your turn. Some of these cards will have like this little like gavel and a little thing. That becomes an auction, meaning that all the players will be involved in trying to claim that card. Now you might be saying, well, that kind of sucks when you take it, but actually because of the fact that there are limitations to the number of cards that people are able to claim and have in them, like sometimes you say, I'm going to take an auction for this card, and you're going to look and nobody else is going to be able to take that card. And so, or there's only like maybe 1 of the 5 people that you're playing against, the 4 other people you're playing against, that will be able to. And so you know that you're going to have a good shot at like being able to auction and grab that card from that person. But all right, so anyway, the thing is that so. And then the last type you have is this card, which you see has this little like 3 cards in there, and that is called a hold card. A hold card is when you get to take it and you get to place the card in your tableau, and you get so you usually place them above, but here just so you can see, I would place them on this side over here, and realm cards go over here, hold cards go over here. At most, you can only ever have 4 whole cards, and the reason for that is because there are 4 different colors of cards that you can have. Like say, here's like a purple whole card, here's a green whole card, and so forth. When you take a whole card, here's a silver one. When you take those whole cards, you place them, so if, like, say you got this one, you'd place it over here, great, you have one of your 4, but now you can never claim another one of these silver cards, and so you'd have to go for a different one. So you can only have 4, and all 4 have to be a different color, so just keep that in mind. All right, so stepping back, I was going to show you this card real quick. So, like, on my turn, like if it was my turn, I'm yellow player, I get to go first. I could spend my 2 goods tokens like so to claim this to begin with, because it is on that spot. And what we do is, so looking at this card, I just want to show you this. So you can see over here, they have this little lightning symbol. It means this happens instantaneously. And then it has this over here, meaning it's worth 6 victory points. And over here, number of players, it's 5, 4, 2, or 3. What this number is the number of these little war axes that I'm going to need to be able to, I have to turn in instantaneously to get these points. And so I kind of purposely, and this becomes part of my realm, so I'm going to place it over here. And that's important because cards are used as tiebreakers and other things at the end of the game, end game scoring, that sort of stuff. We're going to take all 5 of these axes that I claimed, we're going to place those back into the supply, and then I can take my token here and I can move up to, I can move up and I'd have 6 points for doing that. That is one of the most straightforward type of cards that you can play, and it's pretty simple as far as that is taken. Now, like in some of these, anything with the little lightning bolt, like this is still a whole card, but like in this case, if you claim this one, you'd play 3 tokens, and this is going to be worth 5 points. And so if you can see there, it says spend 5 culture tokens and instantaneously, and it'd be worth 5 points. And if you claim that one, you'd, as I said, since it's a whole card, you'd place it over into this spot next to you. So, like I said, pretty straightforward, pretty on the nose. It's not that difficult to as far as that is concerned. Now, there are some cards that you can take. I might as well show you this one, where when you take this card, and you can see this icon down here, this particular icon, as you can see, it has like that little ribbon there and the 2 axes, and also has this thing where it has this like little spinning like production icon as well. So anyway, so with this one, we took that from the number 1 spot, so it would take 1 goods token to get this, and you can see we'd have to spend 6 raw goods in order to claim it, and then this, like I said, this little icon with you would immediately score the number of points that you have in total military value. So how many admirals and generals you have, 2 points for each general, 1 point for each admiral, you'd score those points. But you're gonna keep this card in play, and that little production icon means that when you do your production, every turn you're gonna get one of those little war axes to claim. And so you're just gonna like place that over next to it, and then you're just going to reference that every single time when you ever do a production. When we played it, like we would always just place one of these on top of there, and then and then you would just take it and move it over. Like at the end of the game, or like towards the end, when you got done with your turn, you passed, you'd load these up, and then it was just really easy to remember. You just moved them over to your resources and had them set up there. It seemed to work really well for us. That's not like a true like rule, but that's just one way we did it, because a lot of times when we were playing it, we were like, oh, I forgot to take this icon, I'm supposed to get that, and everybody's like, oh, sure you did, but yeah, no, seriously, that's what you did. Alright, so, and I should mention that little flag that was on there means that is the end game scoring. You don't get that when you take the card. So you keep this card, you hold on to it until the end of the game, and then you count up how many of those that you have, and then you get to turn those in for the win. Alright, so then, like, here we have, here's a card, this is kind of an interesting one, where you actually have to turn in an admiral. That you spend 1 admiral instantaneously, and it gets you 2 points. And then at the end of the game, if you have greater or equal to 5 mayors, you're going to get 3 extra points at the end of the game. So you can see this is one of those games where you're going to be loading up different cards, loading up different powers to have your end game scoring. And so you're going to have and I like games like this where you're trying to keep track of your points. You have instantaneous points you're going to score, but then at the end you're going to just see how well you made your engine, how well you made your empire, and you're going to see how well it comes in. All right, so I haven't talked at all about how the auctions go. Auctions are pretty straightforward. It isn't a secret auction. You're not putting your hand in and revealing or anything like that. Depending upon the thing, you're going to decide what you're going to spend. So, like here is this auction, and this auction is the winner is going to get a mayor. You can see the little feather in the cap icon there. And you can see the auction, and it has gold. And so what's going to happen is the starting player is going to say, well, I bid 1 gold. And then the next person says, I bid 2 gold, and so on and so forth. Once as soon as you don't want to, if you like, I don't want it, I don't have any gold, I don't want to spend it, you say I pass, and then as soon as you pass, you're out of the auction, and then whoever ends up spending, like bidding the most, will spend that number of that resource, and then they'll get that particular card, and then get to add it to their tableau, and then they'll also go ahead and get to take the mayor and add it to their workers that they'd be able to have. Now, as I said, this is a game where you're going to be able to get more workers as the game progresses, and you're going to be able to do it. Alright, so the last one of the cards I just want to show you because of the icon that's on it is this guy right here. Alright, so just like the other ones, this is going to be a whole card because you can see that it has that icon up there. And looking over at the other side, you can see it's going to cost you 5 raw material to be able to claim it. And then at the end of the game, you can see that every mayor is going to be worth 1 point. You can see that little flag there. And then over here we have this little circle. And it doesn't have an icon in the middle, so it isn't a production circle. But you can see it has an icon of this gray, like a card with a gray. Every time you take a gray card, you're going to earn yourself a axe. And one of those axe one of these axe resources added on. And once again, you're going to keep this as a whole card, and it's going to be your one green whole card. You can't take another green whole card after that is done. But you're going to have that, and it's going to be part of your engine, part of your synergy that's going to allow you to keep powering up your particular nation, your particular kingdom. Now, just like in bidding, like as soon as you can't do, as I said, you're going to pass. As soon as everybody passes, you will then, you will remove all of your workers from your spot, place them over to the side of your board, and then you're going to cover up your board again, and you're going to go ahead and start it all over. You're also, as I said, you're going to take these cards and you're going to slide them like so. And so you take up all of the spots that are empty. And there wasn't a card here in the 5th spot, so because I took that one. But if there had been, you would have taken that card away from there. And then you take these and you replenish the board. Notice that there will be a actual folded board for the game, not these pieces of paper. Then you take these and slide them up like so. And then we're going to take 4 brand new cards and place them in the spots. Now, I kind of like the fact, as I said, like you're able to look ahead, you're able to see the cards that are coming, you're able to see, so like here's 2 cards, I'm going to be able to bid gold soon to get generals. Generals are a great thing. So now maybe this is the turn where I'm going to be trying to figure out, oh, geez, if I can take this particular card, and I can win it bidding on war icons. I'm going to get 5 gold. 5 gold is going to be great because there's going to be general cards coming up soon. I'm going to want to bid for those. That's the things I like playing as far as I like being able to plan ahead. I like being able to see how the game is going to progress as the game goes, and then being able to formulate a strategy. And this game, it lasts like the perfect amount of rounds. Like it lasts 8 rounds, which is, for the amount of planning and the thinking ahead and the rewards for thinking ahead, is well worth it on a game like this. But let me talk about that and a whole lot more in my final thoughts about Medieval Realms. Oh, one-handed. All right, there you go. So that is the Medieval Realms. I've already gone over a lot of things I really liked about the game. I can just, but I'll sum them up here. I talk a long time, so there won't really be a sum up. But so there's lots of things I like. I really like the art. This game could have been about anything. It could have been about spaceships. It could have been about trains. It could have been about, collecting dream monsters, but the theme fits, and then the art fits. You have a picture of, basically a current event card that actually shows, you're claiming an island, it looks like. And so obviously you're spending an admiral to claim that island. It makes sense, right? You claim a fort, and then at the end of the game, your generals and your admirals are worth extra points to you. Makes sense, because it's a military thing and it has a military reaction to that. Laboratories for your magic potions and things like that. Churches for your religious powers. And so I like the fact that they connected all that stuff, and it just goes to show that the nuances of the game are really fun. I mentioned the game had like a Kingsburgian look. It has nothing to do with Kingsburg. There's no dice. There's nothing like that. But the whole process of seeing all the different things, all the different options available to you, and then figuring out which ones you're going to take, I really, really liked that. I like that aspect. I also love games with reveal moments. There's just something about like, which ones am I going to go? I mean, obviously, when you just take the resources that you want, nothing can really stop you from that. But when you're trying to discern when everybody else is going to put their workers to take those different spots, take those different things, and trying to figure out how you're going to war against them to take those, that's something I really, really enjoyed. You know, as far as like, oh, I hope nobody goes here, but I'm pretty sure everybody's going to go there and fight over that, so maybe I should just go for something different. Figure out another way for me to get, you know, these religious tokens, or figure out another way for me to get these war tokens. Stuff like that. It makes for a fun moment. It makes for the fact that it gets revealed and everybody looks around at everybody else's, and like, you're either like, yes, or you're like, ah, dang it. You know, stuff like that. I like moments of that in games. It just helps to enjoy the people's reactions and enjoy it. And then also, like, if your plans didn't come through, you have to like think on your feet and figure out a way to change it. Or if they did come through, you get to like figure out that plan, that puzzle that you had all these different interlocking pieces have now finally locked into place, and now you can cash in a lot of points. I mentioned the points, and I mentioned like the end of game scoring a few times. There's something I just love that moment where everybody's like, okay, now do the end of game scoring. You're like, okay, how many points did I get for my mayors? How many points did I get for this type of card? How many points did I get for my generals? You know, stuff like that, where you're going through those and you're determining that, and then like the final, like, oh, I got 72, I got 68, oh, I got 73, I win, yes, you know, stuff like that. I just love that aspect of the game. You know, I don't win a lot, but I do like that final like moment, and I like games with a little bit of attention in them, and not attention, but tension, tension. I like games that make me feel worried that I'm not going to be able to get the thing that I want, or be able to, you know, achieve the thing that I'm trying to get. And like, so when I do come through and I pull that off, I have that little minor celebration on my end, like, yes, I did this, you know, and it makes me feel smart, and I feel good about myself for a little while. So the other thing, and the last thing I'm going to say about the game is that like the length of the game is absolutely perfect. There's too many games out there, in my mind, where you have like this engine that you create, that you process, that you move forward with, and then either A, it lasts too long, and then everybody's just kind of like churning their engine over and over again, and it's just this like, oh, I got another, you know, I've got 50 more points, I got 30 more points, I got 45 more points, you know, and it's just this kind of like, you know, it's like, can this just be over already? You won, thank you. And there's also too many that like, it just when it seems like you're actually like hitting your stride in the game, it's over and it's done, and you don't really ever get to enjoy the fruits of your labors. But here you have a game where it lasts that perfect number, it lasts that 8 rounds, it lasts just a little bit over an hour, and it's like that perfect amount. It's just, and that's a really, really tough thing to achieve, and they pulled it off with this one, Medieval Realms. So if you like games with like area majority, if you like games with a reveal moment, if you like just worker placement games, and you like this figuring out like the resource collection puzzle and how you're going to like process that and collect these cards and what have you, I strongly suggest you check this one out. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Alright, so this is me telling you out there, be awesome, be amazing, be the best version of you that you possibly can be. I try that every single day, and I fail more often than I succeed, but you know, I never give up. I guarantee you, the more happiness, love, and kindness that you spit out into the universe, the more of that is going to get slapped right back into your face. So, until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, you're awesome, I'll talk to you soon.